Hey friends, Andy Kennedy here with 60 Days of Toxic Truths. Wow, day 56. I cannot believe that it is day 56. And after today, we have 4 days left. And yeah, after tomorrow, I think today's 56. Shoot. Is today Sunday? Oh, yeah, no, for today's definitely 56. Sorry. Okay, so after today, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I am doing a wrap up of each day. So if you're brand new to Toxic Truth, which I'm sure by now none of you are, but if you have found this one off the list, and you want to learn more about zero waste, I'll start talking about that in a second. I'm really excited to talk about zero waste because it's one of my passions for sure. But if you're new to Toxic Truths, we did 8 weeks total. 2 weeks at first were nutrition. The second 2 weeks were the body, the epidermis. The third 2 weeks were the mind and mindset. And the last 2 weeks that we're in right now, and today is the last day of, is the home. So everything in the last 2 weeks has been related to our home. And how zero waste fits into that, I'll back up as I did yesterday or 2 days ago maybe, and talk a little bit about the Sustainability Council that I worked for in Steamboat. Again, hats off to those guys. It's an amazing program, and they're really I think from what I have heard, they are continuing to get back into that zero waste as a hub and spoke model for the region, which is great because residential composting stopped for a while we were still there a couple years ago. So zero waste doesn't just mean composting. Zero waste means focusing on bringing new plastic bottles of stuff home and recycling them if you can, but if you can't, reusing them. Reuse is a big portion of zero waste, and the waste stream, eliminating the waste stream in general. But other examples are, in addition to recycling and upcycling, which is really just reusing something, finding a use for like literally everything. So whether that's gallons of milk that you buy, and using those as little terrariums that I've seen a lot of people use this time of year to start their seedlings in and stuff, or like I said, recycling them, but focusing on the stream in general and not getting sucked into the toxic truth, right? So some of these are the toxic truth and the solution. And zero waste isn't the toxic truth, right? Zero waste is the solution. The toxic truth is getting sucked in, and we're all part of that, getting sucked into the waste stream, and what that waste stream, where it goes, how it affects your environment, how it affects just the environment in whole, from the start of a product all the way to the end consumption and use of all of the materials that are part of that product. So whether that product, like I was saying, is laundry detergent, a couple of days ago we talked about, and it's so much more less wasteful, so much more sustainable, or more zero waste thinking to either take your laundry bottle and go refill that at a place that refills it for you, or to use what we use, are the little soap nuts, so you don't have to worry about a bottle or a container or whatever. That I feel like is the low-hanging fruit, recycling. Then from there we can talk about waste stream in regards to composting and food waste. A statistic that just drives me insane is that our country and the world even is 25% food impoverished, right? So that means 25% of Americans don't have access to enough food, and yet 25% of our food gets wasted. How can we connect the dots there and marry those two? So getting into your community by offering to grow food. Grow a row is a thing that we used to do when we were in Colorado. I am sure it's out here too. I haven't seen much marketing on it yet, but I am sure that I will from the extension office, because I'm on their mailing lists with UT now. So, growing a row to help um, offset those statistics of people who are struggling to make ends meet and find enough food, get access to enough food. Um, Growing food in your area for people, in your garden or in your tower garden. And we did that in Colorado. We grew with a church, we grew with the food bank, we grew with schools. And it's the tower garden is such an amazing tool. If you don't know about the tower garden, look for my link below. I'll put it in the resources this time as well. Tower Garden is just for one, I'm grateful to be affiliated with a company that has such high integrity, and give back programs, as Tower Garden has. So check that company out. It's really, 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 really cool. The towers. So what was the other thing I wanted to talk about? Wasting water. So focusing on water conservation, using drip instead of what is that called? Broadcasting, sprinkling. So drip and on a timer and not at the hottest time of day, right? All the practices on saving water. Even here's another one too, is thinking about where your the food sources come from. So buying local reduces transportation. I've talked about that a few times on these lives. It's another way to focus on being zero waste is there a way that I can get whatever I purchase food wise or regionally, can I get that locally versus trying to buy it somewhere else? Eating in season, we've talked about as well. That can reduce waste because when you're not eating in season, you're importing food from the region that it is in season from. So you're talking again about high transportation costs and waste. I had a couple more examples, but homesteading in general, which is the model that we're living in now, and this permaculture model, community, model that we have here. This is a big part of why we're doing what we're doing here, because we want to be able to capture all of our waste and not take too much of it to the transfer station. Stuff still is packaged in styrofoam. Sometimes I can't avoid that, especially when we're buying things like our water pump and our solar inverter, and some of this really heavy fragile stuff comes packaged in styrofoam, and when it isn't, it has come damaged to us. So what do I do then with that styrofoam? I have to take it to the dump. I have no end use, no second recycle of that, unless I'm going to package something up and send it to someone as well, right? We have a special reason not to save styrofoam. Our cat has pica, so he eats that, or pica, so he eats that kind of material, which is a bummer. So we get rid of that. But again, thinking of ways to reuse things that don't have an end use or a second or a third use is challenging. And that's the toxic truth, is that we have to live in a very wasteful world. We don't. And adopting a homesteading model where everything gets used. I remember here's one last story. I remember a very cool talking green that we did at the Sustainability Council, where all of the speakers that night were longtime, old timer locals who, lived through at least the Second War, if not the First War, in Steamboat, and probably not the First War, but maybe. A couple of them were really pretty up there in age, like 90s. So perhaps, but they definitely lived through the Great Depression. And what that teaches us when we don't have is to save and reuse buttons. One of the things it talked about was, beetle kill, and how, they were using all of the downed trees that had been demolished by the beetles the first time around, because we had a beetle kill in the 90s and early 2000s across the country, but that wasn't the first one. They talked about one that came through in the early 30s, that they used all of that wood with as well. So, it looks like a tragedy, right? That all of these beetles are killing all of the trees, and the trees are, but there's a resource, so this wood is really beautiful and can be used for building. Oh, there's a whole nother category. That is the other category that I wanted to talk about, was building. Because of course we've been, unfortunately, living in a waste stream here with our building, and what can we save? So anytime that we have stuff, we save. We're saving cardboard boxes for the garden. We're saving materials that we don't think we need for the current project, but maybe someone else needs our leftovers for their project, right? So again, saving as much as you can and reusing or repurposing or trading or giving away what you can. So that's today's toxic truth, the zero waste. It's the end of our home unit, the end to the last day of our 2 weeks on home toxic truths. And the next 4 days, I'll kind of do an overarching theme for one day per each of those 4 themes. So tomorrow I'll return to nutrition, and I'll be talking about fasting. Or no, sorry, no, I think the second day is on fasting. Gosh, yeah. Maybe we are talking about clearing out and fasting all 4 days. So I have actually some really cool, I don't want to tell you everything that I'm talking about over the next couple of days, because I have some really cool surprises and extra resources for you guys. So thanks for watching. As always, this one ran a little bit long, but I appreciate you. Zero waste is a big topic, big topic. It's hard to pack it into 8 or 9 minutes. So thanks for watching. As always, happy Easter if you're watching this live, and we will see you tomorrow for our final 4 days of 60 Days of Toxic Truths. Thanks for watching. See you in the Facebook group.